Your views on the markets? I mean, I was wondering that, now that we're heading to the end of Q1, that things may have started looking better on the markets, but it doesn't seem to be the case.
I agree. There seems to be a shift in the expectations among many investors. And it could be attributed to a number of reasons that we've always talked about. That, of course, last year was significantly a very good year for many companies because the economy had just recovered, and the performance across, especially the financial sector, was very good. And maybe the fear is that next year, going into a new, basically an election year, it's going to be difficult for companies to be able to match that performance.
Let's talk about the shilling, because it's looking a lot stronger today, just over 83 shillings to the US dollar. I mean, the CBEK has always argued that the fundamentals of this currency are right. It's just vulnerable to external shocks. Is this a reflection of this?
True, it is, because initially when the shilling actually dipped to its 12 years low, we saw CBK coming forth and saying they're not going to intervene, but they're going to let the market dynamics play a role in terms of correcting the value of the shilling. And the only thing they did was to try play around with the CBR rate, that the central bank rate, that's supposed to set a base for interest rates. And we've seen that maybe quickly pick up and have an impact, a positive impact on the Kenyan shilling.
News is that KenolKobil wants to move into the non-oil products segment in order to boost growth. Obviously now there's a lot of pressure facing the Kenyan economy with higher oil prices and of course petrol price increases, the consumers feeling it. What does it mean for KenolKobil?
True. I will look at it that maybe they're seeing, they're seeing something different from what other players might not be seeing. But you'll note that a number of companies have been working out of the Kenyan market, oil industry, and just leaving a few big players. Now we just remain with Total, and of course there's still BP Shell, and of course KenolKobil is still the biggest player. But then what they're trying to do is diversify away from the oil products so that they try, reduce too much of a reliance on the oil products. And what it means is basically that, yeah, we are likely going to see, a more improved, performance in terms of their bottom line, because they're going to get a number of revenues from, various products that they have lined up. We've seen them announcing they're going into real estate somewhere in Ethiopia, and so it is a positive. Is it a positive development? And definitely many investors are going to watch this.
Well, Fred, investors are watching TransCentury ahead of its listing later on in the year, but the company's already starting to make headlines in other ways, said to be planning to make a major investment of about 24 billion Kenyan shillings in railways in the country. What do you make of that?
Yeah, maybe what I make of it, it didn't really come as a surprise, because they've been there before, and they've always, had those ambitions of trying to do a lot in the transport sector. Of course, having played a very significant role in the energy sector, the other, very good and viable sector will be the transport, and they're seriously looking at that. And all we wait to see is maybe how they're going to raise, the 24 billion to actually be able to do some significant improvements on the rail transport system in Kenya. So it's not very new, because they were there before, and right. I believe it is a good development.
Okay, just still staying with TransCentury, the general sentiment within the market as to its proposed listing later on in the year. I mean, some say it's going to shake up things in the investment side, especially for investment companies, because there's only one that operates on the NSC. What's the other view, if there is?
It is because, I would say that the NSC right now has experienced a really dry spell in terms of having new investment opportunities, especially IPOs coming into the market. And it will be a good thing to look at, because right now, I will argue that maybe a number of investors don't really have a variety of investment options on the NSC, because you only see people playing around the financials, basically the banking sector. And this kind of, development that actually they intend to list, and we started hearing about it maybe some 2 years back. So if it's come to fruition, then definitely that is going to have a positive impact on the Nairobi Stock Exchange.
Kenyan Airways under a bit of pressure today in terms of its share price at 2-year lows. It has a lot to do with rising fuel prices internationally, but they've also faced competition from competitive fares of low-cost carriers. What do you make of KQ going forward?
I would be maybe, as opposed to many investors, I'm slightly optimistic about KQ performance. The only worry is, of course, the continued rise in fuel prices that might actually slow down their performance. But I do believe that after reorganization, they've really tried to to improve on how they offer their services, and tried to get a lot of percentage in terms of their local domestic flights. So they're a big player there, and I think even in the whole of African networks, like especially West Africa, they've been doing very well. And as an investor, I would say that I'm optimistic at the current prices of 32, which is actually now at a 12-month low. So it is a good, attractive buy, but considering also that maybe they are planning to do some fundraising in form of, you never know, it could be in form of debt plus some rights issue. So I'll consider it a long-term buy.
Right. A trend that we've seen on the market, for instance, in the last few sessions is a lot of speculative trade on Safaricom, which at least has pushed the price above 4 Kenyan shillings. And there's a sense that going into the second quarter, in the start of a new fiscal year, the earnings for that company could look good. The regulator seems to be on their side regarding intellectual property issues. They've been faced with the competition from new entrants, but they're still basically the stock to watch on the NSE. Your views?
My view is that, okay, it was a very liquid share, and I'll say that many foreign investors have been playing around too much on that particular share. We've experienced a lot of volatility, especially amongst foreign investors. And basically what they do is you've seen Safaricom always touch, bottom out at 3 shillings and 75 cents. And then after that it goes to 4 shillings and then 20 cents, which has served as the, its topmost price. So all these, of course, is to capture the small gains of, roughly 30 cents, which investors have, especially foreign investors, have been really taking advantage of.